What's good, fam? It's your boy Cajun. Once again, back with another video. This time, it's going to be a video to visualize the actual parts for the cymbals in Billy. Now, I did see the video that y'all dropped when y'all played against Poison, and Billy actually sounded really, really good, and it looked together, like y'all all looked the same, and that is important going forward. There are some slight changes that I at least want to show you in how we played Billy and how Billy is actually like is supposed to look and sound. So I'm just going to break them down here. Obviously, the beginning is the same. The crash, choke, got the 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, piano, 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 forte, 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 forte. Now, on this visual, here's what I saw on the video. I saw y'all do crash choke, 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 crash choke. So the actual visual for that is that your head is going to the right, but only the second time. It's supposed to go up first. So it's crash choke, 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 crash choke. So again, the first time when you do the crash choke, your head's supposed to pop up when you choke, and then the same thing, your head turns to the right on the second time. And excuse me, I do have a little bit of a cough here. I'm not sure what's going on. Hopefully I'm not getting too sick. Knocking on wood, hoping it's not COVID. But anyway, that is what the visual is supposed to look like. So again, you got piano, 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 forte, 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 crash choke, crash choke, crash choke, crash choke, obviously alternating. Now, one thing that I also saw, y'all do, I saw y'all, take your right foot and like kind of step out a little bit to the side while you had your cymbals up here when y'all did the next part, which was the crash choke, crash choke, crash choke, crash choke, crash choke, crash choke, crash choke. So one thing that we did differently to kind of make our moves a little more dynamic, because one thing that I just want to show y'all, when you're in a drum line, a lot of things need to be overdone. Not everything needs to be overdone, but a lot of things. And so, especially with the cymbals, one thing that I always stress is that do not be conservative with the cymbals. There are some instruments, like with the quints, of course, they can somewhat be conservative a little bit because if they got a 50-pound drum. But when it comes to cymbals need to like almost over-exaggerate everything, but you got to do it together. So with that in mind, instead of just doing a little step out, what we did was we took a full step out, and what we did was kind of hunch over like we were about to bob our heads and whatnot, which we kind of did. And in that instance, the cymbal was right in front of us instead of to the side. And as we crash choked, our heads were turning in the direction of the actual choke. So I'll show you what that looks like. So starting with the first visual, the crash choke, 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 step, crash choke, 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 step, crash choke, crash choke, crash choke, crash choke, crash choke, crash choke, crash, 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 go down, crash, crash, crash cymbal up, crash, crash straight up, crash, crash up, crash up, crash, 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 crash. Now, the next part is it's an alternating choke part, but what I saw was that y'all did crashes on the, if I'm not mistaken, y'all did the crashes on the downbeat and the chokes on, y'all did the crashes on the upbeat and the chokes on the downbeat. So it sounded like crash, 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 and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. So, flip that. The crashes need to be on the downbeat, and the chokes need to be on the upbeat. And I'll show you what that sounds like. So, crash, 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 crash choke, crash choke, crash choke, crash. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and crash choke, 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 crash choke. So again, just like y'all were doing the crash choke, crash choke, crash choke, crash choke, it needs to be the same musically. Crashes are on the ones, the chokes are on the ands, just like if we're playing like eighth notes, instead of it being the opposite where the chokes are on the one and the crashes are on the upbeat or the and. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And this is the part where the whole drum line is supposed to be nodding their head. What the cymbals would do was we would step out to the right again and bob our heads more dramatically. So we were doing crash choke, 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 crash choke. All right. So just like when you were doing crash choke, but instead we're literally like bobbing our heads and kind of again being over dramatic. So what I will do is I will play the whole cadence for you, so that way you can see what the cymbals actually are supposed to look like. So shot, dum dum dum, shot, dum dum dum, da 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 da, got da 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 da, crash, choke, rest, 2, 3, 4, rest, 2, 3, 4, piano, 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 forte, 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 crash choke, crash choke, crash choke, choke, crash choke, crash choke, step, crash choke. Crash choke, 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 crash, 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 crash. Crash, 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 choke, crash 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 choke, crash, 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 the crash. Now, there is one more visual at the end, but you kind of can't really do it using the 2-finger grip. You would have to literally take a cymbal off and try to do it. But what it is supposed to be crash, 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 crash. Throw your cymbal, catch it, crash. But really can't do that again doing this or this. You would literally have to like do it with the full hand grip, which we don't do anymore, which I don't do anymore. But you may see it done in the block at some point. One of the old school cymbal players, myself included, might just be like, and crash at the end. But yeah, that is Billy. If you have any questions about that, please don't feel afraid to hit me up. You know, hit me up, whatever y'all need, I got you. All right, that's my time. I'm gonna go get a glass of water because, yeah. But holla at y'all. Put a boom.